The party at Alex's apartment was meant to be a joyous occasion. After years of setbacks and heartbreak, Alex had finally landed the promotion he had worked tirelessly for, and he was eager to celebrate. His older brother, Jordan, had reluctantly agreed to come, despite feeling emotionally and physically drained. The toll of his pregnancy, a dream come true after years of fertility struggles with his husband, Chris, was immense. Jordan had been cautious, keeping the news private even from close family. The journey to conceive had been fraught with heartbreak, and this pregnancy felt too fragile, too sacred, to share widely. Alex, on the other hand, was oblivious to Jordan's situation. The two brothers had grown distant over the past year. Jordan had pulled back from family gatherings to focus on his health in the delicate balance of his pregnancy. Alex, nursing wounds from a devastating betrayal by his former fiancé, Richard, interpreted Jordan's absence as a lack of support. Richard had been caught cheating the night before their wedding, leaving Alex humiliated and heartbroken. In the months that followed, Alex had buried himself in work, clawing his way to a promotion that now felt like redemption. This party was supposed to be his moment, a symbol of his resilience and a fresh start. Jordan had hesitated to attend the party. Chris had encouraged him, reminding him that Alex might need support and that it was time to reconnect. "It's just one evening," Chris said gently. "We can keep things low-key. You don't even have to stay long." Reluctantly, Jordan agreed. He chose a loose-fitting sweater to mask his growing baby bump, hoping to avoid questions. As he stepped into Alex's sleek, modern apartment, the air was already heavy with tension. Alex's smile seemed strained, his laughter a touch too loud. To everyone else, he was the life of the party, but Jordan could sense the undercurrent of bitterness. It wasn't long before Alex's passive-aggressive remarks began to surface. "Nice of you to finally show up, Jordan," Alex quipped, a glass of wine in hand. "I wasn't sure you remembered where I lived." Jordan forced a smile. "I've been busy. But I'm here now. Congratulations on the promotion, Alex. You've earned it." Alex's eyes narrowed, and he raised his glass mockingly. "To being busy. Something you're clearly very good at these days." Chris squeezed Jordan's hand discreetly, a silent reminder to stay calm. Jordan tried to brush off the remark, mingling with other guests and keeping his distance from Alex. But as the evening wore on and the drinks flowed, Alex's mood became increasingly erratic. His comments grew sharper, each one laced with resentment. The breaking point came unexpectedly. One of the guests, a family friend named Clara, approached Jordan with a warm smile. "Congratulations, Jordan. I had no idea you and Chris were expecting." Jordan's heart sank. He tried so hard to keep the pregnancy under wraps, but Clara's well-meaning remark caught Alex's attention. His eyes darted to Jordan's midsection, and his expression darkened. "You're pregnant?" Alex said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I guess that explains why you've been too busy to show up for your own family." Jordan's cheeks flushed. "Alex, it's not like that. Chris and I just wanted to keep things private. This pregnancy hasn't been easy." Alex let out a bitter laugh. "Of course. Everything's always about you, isn't it? You couldn't even let me have one night without making it about yourself." "I didn't tell anyone," Jordan said firmly. "I'm here to celebrate you, Alex. That's all." But Alex wasn't listening. His voice rose, drawing the attention of nearby guests. "Maybe this pregnancy will end like your last ones," he sneered. The room fell silent. Jordan's face turned pale, and Chris's hand tightened into a fist. "How dare you," Jordan said, his voice trembling with rage and pain. "How could you say something so cruel?" Before the argument could escalate further, Jordan turned and walked toward the stairs, his only thought to leave the toxic environment. Chris followed closely, but Alex wasn't done. Fueled by alcohol and years of unspoken grievances, he stormed after Jordan. "You're so selfish," Alex spat. "You couldn't even let me have this one night." Jordan ignored him, focusing on navigating the stairs carefully. But then it happened. In a moment of drunken frustration, Alex shoved Jordan from behind. Time seemed to slow as Jordan's arms flailed for the railing. His instinct to protect his stomach took over, and he curled inward as he tumbled down the stairs. The sickening sound of his body hitting the steps was followed by screams. Guests rushed to the scene as Chris bolted down the stairs, reaching Jordan first. Jordan lay crumpled at the bottom, clutching his wrist and groaning in pain. "Call an ambulance," Chris shouted, his voice thick with panic. Alex stood frozen at the top of the stairs, his face ashen. "It was an accident," he muttered, but no one was listening. All eyes were on Jordan, who was carefully moved to a couch while they waited for paramedics. At the hospital, the news was both a relief and a warning. Jordan had fractured his wrist and sustained multiple bruises, but miraculously, the baby was unharmed. However, doctors warned that the pregnancy would require even closer monitoring moving forward. Chris stayed by Jordan's side, his jaw clenched in C. When Evelyn and Robert, the brothers' parents, arrived at the hospital, Jordan expected outrage on his behalf. Instead, their concern seemed focused elsewhere. "Jordan, you need to let this go," Evelyn said firmly. "Alex didn't mean to hurt you. It was just a stupid mistake." Jordan's jaw dropped. "A stupid mistake? He pushed me down the stairs. I could have lost my baby." Robert chimed in. "We're not saying what he did was right, but involving the authorities will only make things worse. For everyone. You care more about protecting Alex than about what happened to me?" Jordan asked, his voice rising with disbelief. "We're trying to protect the family," Evelyn said. "Think about what this could do to Alex's career, his life. Do you really want to ruin your brother over this?" Chris couldn't stay silent any longer. "Ruin him? He nearly ruined us. Jordan could have died. Our baby could have died. And you're asking him to just forget it?" The argument escalated, with Evelyn and Robert insisting that Jordan drop the matter. They even hinted at disowning him if he pursued legal action. Jordan felt like he was being asked to sacrifice his dignity and safety for the sake of family unity. Back in the hospital room, Chris tried to console Jordan. "You don't have to make any decisions right now," he said softly. "Focus on healing. We'll figure this out together." But Jordan couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. His own family, the people who were supposed to love and protect him, were siding with the person who had hurt him most. It wasn't just about the fall, it was about years of feeling like his needs always came second to Alex's. Over the next few weeks, Jordan and Chris wrestled with their decision. They consulted a lawyer, who assured them they had a strong case. But the emotional toll of going up against his family was daunting. Evelyn and Robert's pressure tactics intensified, alternating between guilt trips and outright threats. Alex avoided Jordan entirely, offering only a half-hearted apology via text. In the end, Jordan made his choice. With Chris by his side, he decided to press charges. It was a heartbreaking decision that likely meant severing ties with his parents and brother. But it was a necessary step to protect himself and his growing family. The legal process was grueling, but it brought Jordan a sense of empowerment. For the first time, he was standing up for himself, refusing to be silenced. As he prepared to welcome his child into the world, he felt a renewed sense of hope. His family might never be the same, but he was determined to create a healthier, safer future for his own. As the weeks turned into months, Jordan's life began to take shape around the choices he had made. The legal battle was difficult, but it was a constant reminder of his strength. Each day, he felt the weight of the decision he had made, but in his heart, he knew it was the right one. It wasn't just about the fall, or Alex's actions, it was about reclaiming his autonomy, his safety, and his ability to make choices for his future, and the future of his child. Chris remained a steady presence through it all. He stood by Jordan when the media took a keen interest in the case, when friends and family questioned their decisions, and when moments of doubt crept in. Together, they navigated the storm of public scrutiny and familial pressure. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, solidifying their commitment to each other and to the family they were about to build. In the midst of the turmoil, Jordan focused on what truly mattered, his health and the health of his baby. He attended regular checkups, and though every visit was nerve-wracking, the baby continued to grow strong. Slowly, Jordan began to find a sense of peace in the routine of his pregnancy, and despite everything that had happened, he felt joy in the little moments, the first kick, the baby's heartbeat, the soft glow of the nursery Chris had prepared. Every day, his love for the child growing inside him deepened, and he began to feel a sense of purpose that had eluded him before. The baby became his anchor, a reminder of what truly mattered in a world that had felt chaotic and uncertain. But as the trial loomed, tensions with his family didn't fade. Alex had kept his distance, offering only minimal communication, occasional texts, with the same apology repeated over and over. "I never meant for things to get so out of hand." But those words felt hollow to Jordan, a weak attempt to absolve Alex without truly taking responsibility. The apology wasn't a bridge to reconciliation, it was a lifeline for Alex, one that allowed him to avoid confronting the full extent of the harm he had caused. Evelyn and Robert, on the other hand, continued their attempts to sway Jordan, often using guilt and manipulation. They guilt-tripped him about how much this was hurting Alex, how it was tearing the family apart. "You're breaking your brother," Evelyn would say. "This isn't what Alex wanted. He's hurting too, you know." But each time, Jordan stood firm. The thought of how fragile his pregnancy had been, and the possibility of losing his child, grounded him. His baby's well-being was far more important than keeping up the facade of a happy family. His silence was no longer compliance, it was self-preservation. And yet, the pressure was relentless. There were phone calls at all hours of the day, sometimes pleading, sometimes demanding. Evelyn would speak in a soft, coaxing tone, telling him how much his decision was tearing the family apart. Robert, with his more blunt approach, would suggest that Jordan was being too emotional and that he should consider the long-term consequences of his actions. "Family is everything, Jordan," Robert would say, his voice thick with disapproval. This could ruin everything for Alex. Think about the bigger picture. But each time they came to him, Jordan felt more resolute in his choice. He wasn't just protecting his own dignity, he was also protecting Chris and the child they were bringing into the world. No matter what the world, or his parents, thought of him, Jordan knew that his duty was to stand up for what was right, and what was right was holding Alex accountable. He couldn't allow the cycle of abuse, manipulation, and silence to continue any longer. The trial itself was a blur for Jordan. It was as if time slowed down when he was in the courtroom, every word a reminder of the betrayal he had experienced. The weight of the decision he'd made to press charges, despite the personal cost, lingered over him like a heavy cloud. He thought back to the nights he lay awake, questioning whether he was doing the right thing. But as he took the stand, recounting the night of the fall, the emotions he had bottled up for so long came pouring out. His voice cracked as he spoke about the fear he had felt when he realized what Alex had done to him, how he had been forced to leave his own brother's party to protect his child, how he had fought to stay strong in the face of family betrayal. Chris sat beside him, offering silent support, a pillar of strength Jordan could lean on. His hand was a constant presence on his knee, reminding him that he wasn't alone, no matter what happened in that room. Chris had always been there, through thick and thin, but this trial, this legal battle, had brought them even closer. They had faced the darkest parts of their lives, and come out stronger on the other side. The courtroom was divided, Alex's lawyer, trying to cast doubt on Jordan's version of events, suggesting that Jordan had exaggerated the incident. But Jordan stood his ground, his resolve unshakable. The defense tried to paint Alex as a troubled, misunderstood man, someone who had simply lost control in a moment of frustration. But Jordan didn't waver. He knew the truth of what had happened, and no one would be able to erase it. His courage was undeniable. When the verdict came, it was a bittersweet relief. The judge ruled in Jordan's favor, with Alex being held accountable for the assault. Alex was ordered to pay restitution for medical bills, and the case served as a public statement on domestic violence, even though it had occurred within a family. It wasn't the victory Jordan had hoped for, but it was enough to provide some closure. The legal process was a grim reminder of the weight of the decision, but it also confirmed something Jordan had known all along, that he was worthy of respect and protection, and that his actions had been justified. The days following the trial were a quiet reflection of the journey Jordan had taken. There were no celebrations, no reconciliation. The family, fractured beyond repair, moved on with their lives in silence. Evelyn and Robert distanced themselves from Jordan, unable to come to terms with his decision. Alex, too, faded from his life, unable to face the consequences of his actions. Their silence was more painful than words, a final acknowledgement that the ties between them had been severed. Jordan felt the sting of loss deeply, but he knew it wasn't the end of his story. It was the end of one chapter, but not of the whole book. He had lost his family, but in doing so, he had gained something much more important, his peace of mind, his voice, and his dignity. In the months that followed, Jordan and Chris focused on building the future they had always dreamed of. Jordan's pregnancy progressed smoothly, with regular checkups confirming that the baby was growing strong and healthy. The pain of the past began to fade, replaced by a sense of anticipation for the future. And then came the day that would forever change their lives. After hours of labor, with Chris by his side holding his hand, Jordan gave birth to their daughter. They named her Lily, a name that symbolized purity and hope, a new beginning. The moment she was placed in Jordan's arms, all the struggles, the heartbreak, the betrayal, none of it seemed to matter anymore. This was the future, the family they had created, and it was beautiful. The joy of Lily's arrival eclipsed everything that had come before. For the first time in a long while, Jordan felt a sense of peace. The scars from the past would always be there, but they no longer defined him. He had fought for his safety, his family, and his future, and now, as he looked into his daughter's eyes, he knew that he had done everything in his power to ensure a better life for her. Jordan had finally learned that sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the most meaningful transformations. And as he held Lily close, he felt a peace he had never known before, knowing he had done what was necessary to protect his family and create a healthier, safer future. His family might never be the same, but with Chris and Lily, he had everything he needed. Together, they would face whatever challenges came their way, their love a shield against the storm of the past. If you enjoyed this thrilling journey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest content. Share this story with your friends, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned for more suspenseful adventures.